Hello everyone, Shinto here playing some more Warhammer combat cards. Someone asked me if there was a viable deck running Glogurthrox the Foul for PvP, and while he does have a really bad special rule, I think he can do a little bit better in PvP. And I'm running a lot of really strong bodyguards that have synergy with him, like these three cards with Endless. They'll be able to trigger his special rule twice as many times as normal. Then we got our big heavy hitters. Got three greater demons in here. The Keeper Secrets, Lord of Change, and the Great Unclean One. And then we also have this new Plague Caster with Poison Blast, which can deal a lot of damage over time. And then for support, we've got the Chaos Lord with Inspiring Presence and Fear. There's Gloguthrox himself. He's not that great, but if you can charge up a bit of a melee attack over time and finish the game with that strong attack, maybe you might have a chance. Now we're up against Illic Nightspear, so this will be a ranged deck, and Illic Nightspear can actually counter Glogurthrox's special rule with his special rule, the Bringer of True Death. If it's the special rule that kills the unit, then the Nurgle's Rot will not affect the attacking unit. But if they deal enough damage to just kill the thing outright with just pure damage, then the Nurgle's Rot will debuff the enemy. So what we want to do here is put the fodder, like these cheap Endless cards, across from their biggest damage dealers, and then just debuff them a bunch of times before we bring out our bigger stuff. Now, I had to deploy the Keeper Seekers first, but because the enemy has the initiative, I was able to counter-deploy and put these in a pretty good position. Now, with the Void Raven Bomber there, that's a whole lot of barrage damage, dealing some extra splash damage to the Keeper Secrets, but we did debuff both the Crimson Hunter and the Void Raven Bomber, so they're both sitting at about 100 damage, which is still a decent amount, but then with the Fear, that's really going to reduce the damage that they can deal. We put down the Poison Blast guy, so we've poisoned everything on the field. I went Psychic, although I realized in retrospect I probably should have just gone melee because that Chaos Lord just does a ton of damage. They put the Fire Prism down in the left lane, so with the Precision Shot that is able to kill the Plague Caster, although the Fire Prism does get hit by Nurgle's Rot. We have a bit of a ranged counterattack from our side. The Furious Charge from Lucius the Eternal is able to take down the Crimson Hunter, and then with some big melee attack there, we managed to take down the Void Raven Bomber as well. But they respond by deploying a Lord of War. That's the ranged Wraith Knight with Barrage. Does a whole lot of damage. It is across from the Keeper Secrets, so the Fear is reducing the damage there. Still quite a bit though, especially with the Scout from the Warwalker. So in that case, the special rule from Illic is able to kill Lucius the Eternal. So the Warwalker has not been debuffed. Put down the Great Unclean One across from their Wraith Knight. So we managed to poison that, and the poison sort of cancels out the regeneration. This thing still has a ton of health, so it's going to take a while to kill the thing. It is their turn. And with their deployment, what are they going to do? They're dropping a Void Weaver, I think that is. So that one has Barrage. So quite a bit of damage here, but not enough to take down the Great Unclean One. The Barrage damage does take down the Chaos Lord, which hits the Wraith Knight with another debuff. And then we can put down the Lord of Change. The Psionic Blast will take down the Warwalker over there. Once again, I probably could have gone melee here, but with the Psychic, able to finish that thing off. Now, with their last two cards, they have to bring down the Warlord, which means that whatever is in the center is going to get targeted by Deadshot. Ideally, you want to save that for the Warlord. If you put it on a bodyguard, it's a real waste. So they will be able to kill the Great Unclean One, despite the debuffs. But the Wraith Knight gets hit for the maximum debuff of like 60%, I think. Lucius, pretty low on health here, but we do have enough damage charged up. Also, 41 damage from that Lord of Change. The Lord of Change. This is also the Aura of Rage, so increasing the melee attack over time. And no path to victory for the Eldari there, I'm afraid. So, as you can see, it is possible to win with Glogurthrox in PvP. I would never choose to play Glog in ranked mode because he's just boring, but PvP does make it a little bit more interesting because you are able to just counter what your opponent has. So in this case, I was able to make really good use of the Nurgle's Rot, and then use the powerful Chaos Bodyguards to finish the job. Now the same player who asked about Glog also asked about the Tervigon, so here is a Tervigon build for PvP. Got some big stuff like the Tyranid with Big Game Hunter, the Exocrine with shields. We got the Screamer Killer with Barrage and Fear. The Ridge Runner with Scout and Outflank. The Harpy with the same 2 traits there. The Saboteur with Big Game Hunter Barrage. The Pyrovore with Barrage. The Biophagus with Medicae. And this is what the Tervigon looks like at max stats. So, just a bunch of the strongest ranged bodyguards that the Tyranids have. Most of them are epics, but the Screamer Killer being the one legendary, that one is quite strong as well. So, we're up against Watch Captain Artemis, who does percentage-based damage each time he deploys a unit. So, I think the Tervigon is pretty strong against him, because with those infinite Termagants, well, the enemy, he can only use his special rule. That he can only trigger, what, like 8 times in a battle? Maybe 9 times? Whereas the Termagants, you can just keep on putting them down forever. So, with the Tervigon, obviously, against Artemis, you do want to avoid putting down your highest, strongest cards first, so that they, take less damage. I could have put a Termagant across from the target acquired there, but I did want to heal up the Saboteur, because that is a pretty strong card. I want to try to get it to do some damage to Mephiston. So I do put the Termagant across from Mephiston, and we'll get to use the ranged attack, deal a little bit of extra barrage damage to Mephiston there. Just 49, but yeah, he's a pretty strong one, and with the Aura of Rage increasing his melee, do want to take him down as quickly as possible before that death blow gets too big. Now they put down the Librarian Dreadnought, which has a Psionic Blast, and with the melee attacks, they are able to clear all 3 of my cards there. The Termagant does not show up in the hand this round for deployment, so I just decided to put the Screamer Killer in the center, then we got the Ridge Runner, and then the Tyranid across from the Librarian Dreadnought, which ended up being a massive overkill, because 268 plus the Big Game Hunter damage, it was a way... It would have been enough to kill Mephiston, actually, so... but I did want the Screamer Killer in the center lane to reduce the damage from Mephiston. So they actually put a target acquired on the Tyranid. Unfortunately for them, they just have a weird combination of like melee only, ranged only, and then a Psyker. So they weren't actually able to deal that much damage to the Tyranid. And on our turn, we were able to take down 2 of their cards, and they barely deal any damage to the Tyranid, despite target acquired being on it for 2 turns. So when that fails, they put down yet another target acquired on the Tyranid. But this time, we got the extra damage from Artemis' special rule, dealing like 80 some damage to the Tyranid twice, and then the series of attacks there, the Brutalis Dreadnought actually finishing off the Tyranid, and then the death blow going off from Mephiston. And here, potentially, they could have killed the Screamer Killer with that deployment, but the damage instead goes to the Ridge Runner, and we have, at this point, I think the Termagants just start showing up every time, because I only have 2 bodyguards remaining. So we can just keep dropping those Termagants over and over. They kill them with a counterattack, but then I can just keep putting them down. Here I put it over across from Bjorn, although not sure if that was the smartest thing. Maybe I should have tried just focusing down the Brutalis Dreadnought in the center. But they're going melee, dealing quite a bit of damage, clearing the entire board actually, which means I have to put down my last 2 bodyguards. And I have to decide here, which, how are we going to play this out? Because the enemy Warlord does have Deadshot, so I do have to be careful for that. They could potentially kill the Tervigon, in 1 turn, just targeting it with everything. So decided to just try to focus down, 2 of the weaker ones at the same time. So we got the Termagant working down the Brutalis Dreadnought in the center, and then the Harpy is able to slowly deal damage to the Chaplain over in the right lane. So here on this turn, after a few rounds of that, I think we have enough to actually kill both the Dreadnought and the Chaplain on the same turn. And then with the Termagant in the middle, that is the thing that is going to get targeted by Artemis's Deadshot. Now they do decide to move Bjorn over across from the Harpy, which is a smart move. So they will be able to actually kill the Harpy. So, I mean, they played as well as they could have. And here I deploy the Tervigon, but I think we have enough damage, not enough to win in 1 turn. But with the Termagants now deploying across from Bjorn, we actually can kill Bjorn, and then we will have enough to kill, I think, Artemis on their turn, actually. But I decided to surrender to give the other player the win because I already had the 10 wins I needed for the campaign. So that is how you play the Tervigon. Anyway, hope you enjoyed these. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.